Hello, my name is Michael Viola, and the TED Talk that I chose to present is How Netflix Changed Entertainment and Where It's Headed. The speakers for this TED Talk were Chris Anderson and Reed Hastings. As many of you know, Chris Anderson is the head of TED Talks, and for this specific one about Netflix, he conducted the interview with Reed and asked him all the questions. Chris is a graduate from the University of Oxford. He first studied physics but changed his studies to philosophy, politics, and economics. He helped develop the video game website known as IGN, which is now well known throughout the world. He started a non-profit organization called Sapling Foundation, which later that acquired the TED Conference in 2001. He expanded the TED Talks to cover all topics. The person being interviewed in the TED Talk was Reed Hastings. Reed is the co-founder, chairman, and CEO of Netflix. He is an entrepreneur and philanthropist. He attended both Bowdoin College and Stanford University. He got a master's degree in computer science. It was in 1997 that he co-founded Netflix with Mark Randolph. He is also a board member for Facebook and for other non-profit organizations. He's a big advocate for education reform. His net worth is $3.6 billion. The summary of this TED Talk can be broken down into 5 parts. I'll be going through each of these individually. The first is the evolution of Netflix. Second, the culture at Netflix. Third, the algorithm for Netflix. Fourth, Facebook. And fifth, education. The first summary point is the evolution of Netflix. As stated earlier, Netflix was created in 1997. At first, they were only a DVD rental service, but the difference between them and other DVD rental services was that you could keep the disc as long as you wanted with no late fees. Mr. Hastings said they knew this was better because they knew people would always get annoyed if you would charge them $40 for a late fee. Later on, Netflix developed a streaming service for other people's films and content. This was in 2007. This would allow people to watch this content from anywhere. Then finally, they started creating their own original content. They tried this in 2005, did not work because they were subscale. It was in 2011 when they acquired House of Cards that their original content kicked off. It was considered a breakthrough moment. They were not confident initially, but it all worked out. From the original content, this introduced a new type of viewing called binge viewing, which is watching television for a long span, usually one show. And with this binge viewing, especially with Netflix, is they released all their episodes at once, something that linear TV can't do. Mr. Hastings said that this idea came from DVD box sets because in box sets, you can watch all the episodes straight through with no interruptions. He says also that Netflix makes more profits with originals. He says originals help create the Netflix brand, not TV shows they are borrowing from other networks, since they cannot associate those TV shows with Netflix. He says now they will be investing $8 billion in new content to compete with others, and will spread it globally. The second summary point is the culture at Netflix. In this TED Talk, Mr. Hastings stated that the culture at Netflix is based on freedom, meaning that he wants everyone that works at Netflix to be able to express themselves and their ideas. The other big concept for the culture at Netflix is decision-making. Mr. Hastings stated that he tries to make the least amount of decisions as possible, and that some decisions are even made without him, or that he might not even know about these decisions. Also, other than the peers of Mr. Hastings, Netflix employees are the highest paid for equivalent jobs, and are least likely to leave their job because they like working at Netflix that much. Mr. Hastings says that he wants Netflix employees to speak the truth because he feels their voice should be heard. The third summary point is the algorithm for Netflix. In 2007, Netflix opened up its algorithm and offered for someone to improve upon it. Many thought this was dangerous, but Netflix still went with it. Netflix even would offer $1 million for someone to fix their algorithm. Someone did, and they were paid their $1 million. However, since 2007, Netflix has not done this again and are able to fix their own algorithm. Mr. Hastings has stated that Netflix invests a lot in its algorithm to feature the right content to the right people for their entertainment. The old algorithm was a rating-based system. This could work by someone just rating a movie but not even having to watch it. The problem with this is that it would recommend movies that you rated high even if they are movies that you would not even watch. Some of these movies you would rate high you would rate high because your friends recommended that they were good movies, example being Schindler's List. They got rid of this algorithm, and now their new one goes exactly by what you watch. This new algorithm shows your aspirational values versus your revealed values. Aspirational values are values that you want to believe in, but your revealed values are values that you actually believe in and show. He says this new algorithm points towards your revealed values, which shows your enjoyment. The Netflix's algorithm, along with its concept of quantity over quality, contributes to its subscriber growth. Mr. Hastings says that he chooses quantity over quality because they want to offer a variety to people. He says that people get bored of watching the same stuff even if they like it. The fourth summary point is Facebook. The reason Facebook was brought up during this TED Talk was because Mr. Hastings is a board member of Facebook. During this TED Talk, Mr. Anderson asked Mr. Hastings about Mark Zuckerberg, who is the CEO of Facebook. Mr. Hastings stated that Mark is a great guy, he's hardworking, and is very passionate on fixing Facebook of its mistakes. He feels Facebook is not being completely unfairly criticized because the controversy of its privacy and ads were a big deal and they do deserve some criticism for it. He did say with regards to all technology and the new technology that will be coming that all technology has pros and cons and that it will never be perfect. The fifth summary point is education. At the end of this TED Talk, Mr. Anderson asked Mr. Hastings about his interest in education. It is said that Mr. Hastings was interested in education from an early age. In fact, he was a high school math teacher right out of college. Later on, he became a member of KIPP, which is an organization that supports charter schools. Mr. Hastings said he wanted to make a difference in the education system after he became a philanthropist, because he would have more resources to make a difference. He feels that we all should have more variety in the education system. He says most U.S. schools are run by a local school board that has to meet all the needs of the community and cannot focus solely on education. He says he wants to have schools run by nonprofits because they will be more mission-focused, will support the educators well. These type of schools specifically are called charter public schools. Even though he wants to see this change happen, it is very hard because of the current government structure that we have. When asked about how much he has invested in fixing the education system, he said there's no exact number, but it is around a couple $100 million, and that when he passes away, he will give away half his fortunes to support education. Before I end this presentation, I have 3 questions I would like to ask you all. My first question is, what will the impact be on Netflix with more entertainment companies like Disney and Warner Brothers creating their own streaming services? My second question is, will Netflix ever completely shut down its DVD rental service? My third question is, has Netflix changed the entertainment industry for better or for worse? That is the end of my presentation. I hope you liked watching it and hope you enjoyed learning about Netflix and its CEO.